Hello everyone and welcome to this event, which is a student finance special where we're looking at basic student finance at university and going through what's involved and the process and the main areas that you as students considering university need to be aware of. My name is John and I'm here from UniTasterDays and I'm going to be hosting this event. And I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Kevin Macmillan. And Kevin is joining us from the Student Loans Company. And Kevin is going to, Kevin's role is he's an account manager and he's at the Student Loans Company and he's going to provide an overview of student finance for us. Just before I pass to Kevin, I'm always asked at these events about recordings. And if you've got friends and family that will find this useful, or if you're interested in watching back any other of our events, this is now our 16th week of running these UniTaste Tuesday events. Do check out UniTasterDays.com/Tuesdays, which is where you can book future events, but also access recordings from previous events. But I'm very conscious you've not tuned in to hear from me, you've tuned in to hear from our student finance expert, which is Kevin. So without further ado, Kevin, I'll pass the floor to you, please.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, John. It's an absolute pleasure to be representing Student Loans Company at the UniTasterDays sessions. So thanks very much for having us. And yeah, my role essentially is to talk about student finance and how the whole system is designed to work, what's available, how you apply for it, and how the whole repayment system works as well. So hopefully we'll cover all that over the course of the talk. So first and foremost, who are the Student Loans Company? We are a company that's owned by the government. We are not a private company. We don't operate in the same way as a bank or a private loan lender. We exist really for two main reasons. The first main reason is to make sure that students and universities get the money that they're entitled to when going to university. And on the flip side of that, the other reason that we exist is that we need to make sure that we are collecting every penny that we are supposed to when it comes to repayment. So that's really what the Student Loans Company is. That's what it's for. We are owned by the government. The money that we give out is public money. Because of that, we do need to do some sort of checks to make sure that the right people are getting the right amount of money. We do get about between 1.6 and 1.8 million applications in every academic year. So it does get pretty busy. But very much the normal way, I think, of paying for higher education is by taking out student loans. So we are the Student Loans Company. We do work across different domiciles. So if you're in England, you will see our branding at Student Finance England, but we also do work in Wales with Student Finance Wales, Student Finance Northern Ireland, and we do some work in Scotland as well. But it's all the same organisation. We just do things slightly differently in the different countries. So that's who we are. So what we want to talk about is primarily what's available should you choose to go to university. The first and foremost, the tuition fees is probably the biggest cost that you will meet, paying for the course. The good news is that there is a loan from ourselves to meet that cost. It's a non-means tested loan. It's money that goes directly to whichever university or college you decide that you want to go and study at. We pay that money directly to that university or to that college on your behalf. So students, parents, you never see that money. It's all done behind the scenes. And it's essentially one less thing to worry about. So the upfront cost of the courses, putting on the courses does require teaching expertise and equipment. So it can be quite expensive to run these courses, and that's why the tuition fees can seem a little bit scary, particularly if you're brand new to student finance. The amount that we're talking about can seem a little bit off-putting. So we're hoping that after this talk, the scary upfront costs won't put you off going into higher education if that's what you want to do, because you'll see that what you take out and borrow is not always linked to what you end up repaying. Okay. So the tuition fee loan is non-means tested loan, so everyone's entitled to a tuition fee loan. We don't run any financial assessments on the tuition fee loan. Essentially, we just ask how much of your tuition fees do you want us to pay, and which institution do you want us to pay them to. So that's really the easy bit of the application. Probably of more relevance to young people is the maintenance support. So a maintenance loan is available, and this is money that goes to you. This is money that we drop into your bank account at 3 points during the year in September, January and April. Okay, so it's designed to contribute towards your living costs. So your accommodation, your travel, your study equipment, those types of things. The amount that you can get varies on a few things. Where are you going to live, or where are you going to study? Now, if you choose to live at home, travel to a local institution, we will assess you on what we call the parents' rate. If you move out, including into halls of residence, you will be assessed on the elsewhere rate, which tends to be a little bit more because you pay for things that you probably don't pay towards if you're living at home. Anyone that's thinking about going to London, we'll assess you on the London rate. So those are the three main rates that we have for assessing our students. So as I mentioned, those 1.6 to 1.8 million students, most of them will all fall into one of those three categories. So we will ask you, where are you going to be living whilst you're at university? Now that's particularly relevant for our students going this September with lockdown and the COVID situation. Some students may be changing their mind about where they're going to be living, and they may not be able to access halls, for example. So that's particularly pertinent for students this year. Hopefully it will be a lot more settled for your year 12, year 13 students when you come to start university. So tuition fees and maintenance is what we refer to as core support. We call it core support because everyone's entitled to apply for tuition fees and maintenance loan. There are other little pockets of support that we really want you to know about. Now, these won't be eligible to everybody. It does depend on a few sort of personal situations, but I will just touch on them just to make sure that if you are eligible for these extra little pockets of support, that you know to apply for them, and you know to factor that into your financial research for how you're going to help fund your life at university or college. So first things first, students with disabilities, so you may have experience of an additional support package whilst you're at school or college. We do have the university equivalent, which is disabled student allowance. That is a package of support that is pulled together based on your need, and some support will be provided directly from the institution. Some will be funded and provided by ourselves at Student Finance. Okay, so the key thing that we really want you to know is that there is an additional source of funding for students that might need additional support to overcome complexities caused by disability. You want to be able to get the most out of your course, and you want to be able to get the most out of your university experience. So that's what disabled student allowance is designed to do. The most common condition that we give support for is dyslexia. So anything that has an adverse effect on your ability to study and an adverse effect on your ability to get the most out of the course, then the disabled student allowance will hopefully plug that gap. And as I say, the dyslexia is the most common condition that we give support for. Other little pockets of support are for students with caring responsibilities. So perhaps less likely if you're of school leaving age, but just in case there are any students out there that have children, there is additional support available to help meet the cost of having children whilst you're studying. And there may be some people out there who, it might not be a child, it might be another adult that is financially dependent on you, the student. If that's the case, we can see about giving an adult dependent grant, because there is another adult depending on the support that you're entitled to access. So the reason why those things exist, essentially maintenance support is designed to help you study. It's for your books and your travel. If you have additional costs on top of that, additional costs linked to caring responsibilities, we need to make sure that we can factor in some extra support to meet those extra costs. Now, there are various other sources of funding available as well. Those of you that are thinking about doing an NHS related course, there is additional funding available directly from the NHS. So that's certainly worth investigating. I don't think it's any secret to say that the government wants people to work in NHS-related fields, and one of the ways that they are doing that is by offering additional finance to help with your NHS studies. So do investigate that. But also do some research. There will be bursary and scholarship support available directly from your university and college. Unis and colleges do a lot of really good work helping students and advising students on part-time work to supplement income. And they can give independent advice on things like overdrafts and things, student overdrafts and student bank accounts and that type of thing. So yeah, do your research, I suppose, is the key message there. There is funding available centrally from Student Finance England, but we are just part of a network of partners really that are looking to put a collective of financial support together to help you study at university or college. So know that there is additional little pockets of funding out there if you are entitled to them. So that's what's available. How do you get it? Well, our application cycle tends to open around about February each year. So if you are looking to go and start university this September, you can apply now. Get your application in straight away. If it's September 2021 that you're looking to go, keep an eye out for us opening our application cycle around about February. The reason that we open so early is because we can do a lot of the work without getting any confirmed offers from a university or college. We don't need confirmed offers. We don't need A-level results or anything like that. We can run our financial assessment and get the money all ready to go well in advance of actually starting university or college in September. No money changes hands until you've actually turned up and registered and enrolled at university. Once that's happened, it's like taking a huge national register. We ask institutions to confirm students that are there, and once we get that confirmation, then we release the tuition fee support to the university, and we would release the maintenance support to you, the student. So what happens between February and September is that you are in complete control. You don't need to wait for those confirmed offers. You can make any changes you want to your application as you go through. We're currently in clearing at the moment, so that tends to be a fairly busy time of the year for us, where students, their results may be better or not as good as they were expecting. So we are expecting a lot of students to jump online to their online account and make some changes if they're going to a different institution or doing a different course. So yeah, students, you are in complete control. And that's true as well for those students that might be 50-50 about going to university at all. I think it's probably best practice to put an application in, and then if you decide it's not for you, and university's not going to be for everybody, if you decide not to go, you can just cancel your application and there won't be any nothing wrong with doing that. It's preferable to do that than it is to wait until the end of August and then putting an application to start, because we want to make sure that we can guarantee this money will be with you as soon as you start your career at university or college. So we are tasked with getting applications done and dusted, online applications within 4 weeks. So it can take around about 4 weeks. But as I say, we do get between 1.6 and 1.8 million applications every year from new and returning students. So we can get busy. So do try and make use of the fact that you can apply early, so that if there is any complications or we need to reassess for whatever reason, then we've got plenty of time and you'll still have your money when you need it, i.e. the first week of term. So the application process is around about 4 weeks. There is some evidence requirements that we need to see. Remember, this is public money and we need to guarantee that it's you've got a right to access it. Most of the eligibility criteria is fairly easy to satisfy. We have just recently introduced digital evidence upload, which means that students and parents, if you are asked to send in any evidence, you can make use of the digital evidence upload on the online account, which is great. Most of the information can be given online. If you're a UK passport holder, we can take your passport number and confirm who you are fairly instantly. I think it takes about 2 days to confirm your identity. We do give funding to our EU nationals starting in 2020-21. Might be a little bit different next year with the EU withdrawal bill, so we're still waiting on some information on that. So we will be putting more information out about that if you are an EU student. We also give student support to students from the rest of the world have an immigration status that allows them to live, work and study in the UK. So some of the residency and nationality and identity requirements can be a little bit tricky, but you should be able to give yourself plenty of time if we do need to come out and ask you for more information to be sent in by post. Okay, so the idea is that the government will give you some money up front to go to university. You apply every year for your student finance. The hard work is done in year one. We do need to ask for some eligibility checks in year one that we don't need to in year 2 or 3, and if there is a year 4, we don't need to check all the information every individual year. So the hard work is done in year 1, but you do need to just reapply with a smaller application form in years 2, 3, and if there is a 4th year, a year 4. Then it comes to the repayment side of things. Okay? So we're only talking about repayment of the tuition fee loan and the maintenance loan. Now, what makes a student loan unique is you're effectively taking the loan off the government. Okay? So we're not a private organisation, we're not a bank, we don't operate in the same way. And the key thing that underpins and makes us unique is the golden sentence, if you like, that repayments are based on what you earn, not what you owe. Now that is different. If there's any parents watching, you will know that that's different to any type of bank loan or mortgage situation that you might be in. But repayments are based on what you earn, not what you owe. So there is an amount at which the government says, okay, as a student, you have taken some funding to help you at university, and you are finished at university, and you're now in a job that earns you enough to make a contribution towards repayment of that loan. Now, the enough figure currently is £26,575. So graduates that are earning over that amount will be making a contribution to repay the student loan. If you're not earning that amount, perhaps you might be working part-time, or you might be in further study and you're not earning over that threshold, you're not expected to repay because you're not earning over that figure that the government says is enough for you to start making repayments. So repayment of a student loan, it needs to be affordable. Okay, if it wasn't affordable, then 1.6 million people every year wouldn't take one out. But the affordability factor is key, and you repay at a rate of 9% of any income over 26,575. Okay, so as your income goes up, which it's more likely to with a higher education qualification behind you, then your monthly repayment will go up. If it goes down, then by default that means your salary has gone down. Okay, so we are really keen that people understand this system, and we do know that it can be quite daunting, particularly if you're going through student finance for the first time. So students and parents that are brand new to student finance, I would urge you just to have a look at gov.uk/SLC, SLC for Student Loans Company. We've got a lot of information on there because we want you to understand, we want you to know exactly what your son or daughter is signing up to, and we want you to feel comfortable with how the whole system is designed to work, because it is unique and it is different to anything that you might have experience of. And it's like that for a maximum of 30 years. So repayments are based on your salary for a maximum of 30 years, and depending on your salary will depend on how much of the student loan is repaid within that 30 years. It's widely agreed that most students will not repay the full amount that they borrow within that 30-year window. whatever isn't repaid is written off. Okay, so one of the key questions we get asked quite regularly is, will I be repaying this student loan for the rest of my life? And the answer to that is no, you won't. You will either be in a fortunate position where your income is high enough that you will be able to pay it all off within 30 years. If your income fluctuates, or perhaps you're not earning enough for a consistent time or over that 30-year window, whatever isn't repaid at the end of 30 years is written off. So that's key. Now, as I say, we do want people to understand. We do want people to be comfortable with how the whole system is designed to work. So you can find more information around the student loan repayment. Some of the more complex side of things, so things like the interest that accrues in the background. What if I go overseas? What if I'm self-employed? These are all really sort of valid questions, and there's a lot of information that we want to make available to make sure that you are as informed as you can be about taking out a student loan. So I've mentioned gov.uk/SLC. That is the place to apply. That's where we've got information on all of the things that we've talked about so far. We've got information on there currently for current students and prospective students. So depending on when you're looking to start, there may be some information that's particularly relevant to you if you're looking to start in the next sort of month or so. But even if it's next year, it's never too early to do your research. Do have a look at that information and familiarise yourself with the whole student finance system. Once you've read it a couple of times, it does become less daunting and easier to understand. Another useful resource where we send students and parents is to the Student Room website. We have information on there for our full-timers, part-timers, undergrad, postgrad, our FE learners, our HE learners, which is the majority of the funding that we offer, and sections there for students and parents as well. So that's where all of the information, again, that we've talked about, there are fact sheets and guides and things on the Student Room website. And a lot of the content on there is put on actually by students. So as part of your research, I would urge students and parents, talk to current students, talk to them about how they sustain their sort of financial lifestyle, I suppose, at university in 2020. Ask them about their experience of going through the student finance application process, and if there are any issues or things like that that you can be aware of and forearmed about. So do ask current students and current parents if you're able to do so. Particularly at this time of year, a lot of students will have a lot of questions, and that's perfectly natural. So if you cannot find the information that you want answering on the various websites, then do give us a ring. Okay, that may be a sign that we've missed something. We've missed a resource in advising students and parents and advisors about a common question. So the likelihood is that if you're struggling to find the answer and you're wondering about an answer to this particular question, that you are in good company, and a lot of other people will be phoning our contact centre and having a chat through. And we are fully operational with our contact centre. We did need to close it whilst we moved all of our advisors from being in an office to working from home. But we are fully up and running. We're all over social media. So if you want to type your question into social media, you can get a real-time response. Otherwise, give us a ring on 0300 100 0607. And don't suffer in silence with regards to student finance. You know, a lot of the questions that we get round about this time of year tend to be from pre-entry students and parents just wanting to fully understand the system, and we're absolutely conscious of that. So that's a little bit about student finance, what's available, the application process, the other various sort of sources of funding apart from ourselves, and how repayment is designed to work. So if you are brand new to it, it can seem a little bit daunting and difficult to understand, but the resources are out there to help you. And the fact that you're tuning into events like this on UniTasterDays shows that you are already in a good position. You're already doing your research. Yeah, continue with that. Ask questions. If you have visits from university representatives, or if you go on open days and things like that, do ask questions around the finance aspect. And you will be able to build up a really good, decent picture of how much funding you've got and how much money you'll have to live on whilst you're at university. So a lot of the work can be done in advance of actually starting. Okay, so I will hand back to Jon. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope it was useful, and hopefully you know where to come should you need any additional support.